Hey guys, Maximum RC coming back at ya with the continuation to this beast. So right now what we're gonna do is, it's gotten a little bit later than I wanted to, but that's okay. We're still gonna get at it and we're still gonna dive into it. My main concern tonight, I think, will be the most difficult part, and that's gonna be replacing the coil. The coil, I'm gonna have to take off this cover right here. Gotta see how everything is built up inside, because I don't remember from when I put in the kill switch how it works. But this will also give me a new kill switch, which means I'm also gonna have to rewire its original kill switch to this coil. So I'm sure that's gonna take up most of the time, and I'm just hoping it should, that everything fits as it should, because, well, I did get this direct from, you know what, I don't even remember if I got it direct from Rovan, or if I got it through a third party, but let's hope it works. I'm not concerned about it fitting the spark plug, because let's face it, the spark plug should fit without any issues. So let's get at it. Let's go. Move you guys down there and let's roll. Alright, so I know what I've said about power tools, but in this case these bolts were seized, and so there was really, that little screwdriver was not going to do the trick to get those first bolts off, so we went ahead and used the drill for it. Now here we're putting the bolts back into where they belong, so we don't have to chase after them later on. Should have done it with every bolt, that way I wouldn't have been chasing through a couple of them looking for them. So I'm not gonna lie, I was having issues because I couldn't remember how to remove the cover, and after a while it just dawned on me that, hey, you know what, there's two bolts at the bottom of the engine, so let's go ahead and take those two bolts off, and lo and behold, those were the ones that were holding the cover back on. Now that it's off, we can get to work. Okay, so now what we're working on here, we finally got to the coil, which is this guy right here. This is what we're gonna be replacing, so that we can also replace this cable. I know we can just replace a cable, but I don't feel like going through that, because that's gonna be, it's not worth it when the coils are so cheap. So before we go ahead and do that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the coil, we're gonna take a look at it, and we're just gonna look at it and make sure, just visually inspect it, that it will actually work and that will actually fit. You can see that the parts are the exact same ones. So if you take a look over here, we can see, there you go, that's a little bit better. This hole right here will actually end up lining with this one right here, and the top one will line up with the top one as well. So let's go ahead and just take this bolt off real quickly. And all I want to see is, I want to make sure that the bolt will go through this hole. And you can see right now, actually, that the holes are the exact same. I know it's a little bit to see, but let's take off the actual coil real quickly here. Now we gotta remember, with this coil, more than likely, it's also gonna bring out the kill switch with us. So we gotta mind those wires. Okay, we're gonna put the coil bolts inside the baggie. There you go. I make sure nothing fell in, because it kind of looked like a gasket or something went in there, but more than likely it was just a bunch of grass as well. Go figure, because there's absolutely nothing in here, so we're in good shape. And unfortunately, I saw that my motor, that the clutch cover is actually pretty much broken. So we'll be running into these problems, but that one really shouldn't be that big of an issue, honestly. So anyway, now that we got the coil out, we can see this wire right here. It's the kill switch wire, which goes into this. This thing's already pre-wired. I forgot that I did this. So it's really not going to be that difficult to actually go ahead and do. So if we go ahead and take a look real quick, you can see that both of them are the exact same. So let's go ahead and let's put these guys back together. Let's put this guy back together so we can keep working on it. Now, real quickly, this thing was actually going to be the most difficult part of the whole ordeal, and I'm sticking to that point. Right now that I have it apart, I'm also going to go see if I can get to the bolt that holds the muffler on here, just to see if we can maybe knock out two things at once. Since this side cover is off, maybe that'll give me enough space to actually work my way into this bolt so we can get it out. So right now we're going to put the coils to the side for the time being. We're going to get right back at those, not a problem. And we're going to go look into that bolt real quick. Let's go. Okay, when I tell y'all that this bolt kicked my ass, I am not kidding. This bolt, it took everything I had and a couple different tools for me to be able to actually get it off. The drill didn't work. It wasn't at the right angle. So, I mean, I tried, as you can see, I've tried basically every tool I could think of with no luck. That bolt was both seizing and at the same time it was stripping. So something had to be done. I figured let's just loosen it up with the pliers for the time being, since I'm able to do it like that. And that idea worked for a while, so yeah, we kept on going, but I kept trying to find better bolts, but no luck. I even went out to the garage to grab a couple more tools. So yeah, this bolt was a trip. Yeah, at this point, I figured it's time for the big boy pliers to come out to play and do a little bit better job. There was a piece that was holding it that wasn't letting me get more leverage on it, so we also went ahead and removed that, which you'll see in a second. And once that little mount was removed, it gave me more space to be able to spin those pliers a little bit more. As a last-ditch effort, we went ahead and used the flexible extension, which actually helped us get the two bolts out so we can get the muffler off. At this point, we came to the realization that that muffler was too bent to be able to come out from there. It had already burned through most of that plastic, so we just went ahead and cut off the plastic to be able to get the muffler out. So you can tell right there, that's how much of the plastic it had melted. There was basically nothing left. There's no point in trying to save that part of the cage. Alright, so we got the muffler off finally, and you can see right over here where it's been burned through. I just cut it and that was it. We got the new muffler, and this is going to be a temporary muffler. Right here. Just going to pop this guy in there and call it a day for the time being. Just so that I actually have something to give me a little bit of back pressure. While I find the actual muffler I want to use with this thing. What I like about this one is it doesn't need a second point of, it doesn't need a second mounting point. So that's going to make it easier. Old muffler, you can see right here where that nice little kink is. You can see right here and right here where it was melting through all the plastic. So this muffler has definitely seen better days. But here, right here as well. But what we can do is we can actually heat this guy up and just try and unbend it a little bit, but that's going to be more of a summer ordeal. So right now, for the time being, this guy's going to be put away. It's going to be shelved. But we will come back to it and work on it. So that's the plan right now. We got the whole thing taken apart, dismantled. So we've gotten basically everything taken apart and dismantled at this point that we need to. we went ahead and we found, I shouldn't say we found, went ahead and we took care of took apart the coil. Let's go on ahead and let's do the next part, which would be putting the coil back on. Or actually, no. Now that we still have this part off, now that we still have the actual cover off right here, let's go ahead and put the muffler back in. I just don't do what I'm gonna do, but get new gaskets if you're able to. I unfortunately, I was hoping. Oh, never mind. Yep, like I was saying, new gaskets. You always want to put on new gaskets. You don't want to go ahead and use the original ones, because let's face it, it's not gonna be pretty. Now, because of this new gasket, they only gave me one. Technically, I should require 2 of them. Here we go. Mainly because of the fact that I have a spacer on here for it, for the actual muffler itself. However, I don't think guys, make sure you use new gaskets all the time. Though, do as I say, not as I do. I think you see, everything's falling apart. So I think for the time being, I'm gonna run without the spacer right here. Hopefully that's not gonna affect my performance that much. We're just gonna run with a single gasket and with the exhaust. So too close. So let's go ahead and fight with this thing again. Alright, now this thing did give us new bolts, thankfully. That's wonderful. Damn it. It looks like I'm gonna have to... Okay, let's go ahead and expedite this. Now, I know what I've said before about using power tools. Don't use them. Or, they're not a good idea to use. But right now, in all honesty... There we go, look at that. There it is. We're doing metal to metal. So using this isn't gonna affect it. Usually I would say go ahead and clean this off too, but thankfully it looks okay. Doesn't look too dirty. Use it with the lowest possible setting you can find. And actually, always, again guys, do as I say, not as I do. But, always try your best to get the bolts started by hand. That way you don't end up screwing them up. I don't know how that bolt's gonna work out. I don't have a lot of faith on the one on this side. Let's see. Let's get the troublesome one out of the way. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, always get parts directly from the manufacturer, guys. That way you don't have to worry about whether something's gonna fit or not. I thought these bolts were gonna be too long. I was proven wrong, thankfully. Alright, we're torquing these bad boys down. And I think that should be... Oh yeah, let me do one more. Perfect. You don't want them too tight, but at the same time you don't want them too loose. You want them just right. There it is. Now, the drill I'm using, I have it on 8 torque and the first gear, first speed, because I don't want to go too fast. Alright, now that the muffler is off, thankfully, and the needle's been replaced. Alright, now let's focus on this piece right here. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and put this back how it should go. My goal at this point today is to get this done. Yeah, that way this can be done out of the way and we can move on to bigger projects that also require our attention. And I am currently missing the one I need to use. Go figure. Found it. I'm definitely gonna have to replace this. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there you go. We're starting to feel. All right, there it is. We got the suspension back. So now, muffler's on. The shock is back on. Now let's go on ahead and finish working on this. And then the last step will be to wash this bad boy and get this, probably vacuum it first. And then we'll go ahead and wash it. But let's get going on this one, all right? Let's go ahead and work on the coil now. So we're gonna take the new coil. Oops, I'm sorry, you guys can't see. Okay, we're gonna take the new coil. We're gonna take the old coil. We're gonna switch out the wires. So let's get started. Okay, by the looks of it, the way I'm seeing this right now, it will work. The new coil will definitely work. However, the one thing I'm noticing is, if you guys can see right here on the new coil, the kill switch, it's actually soldered on, which really isn't that big of a deal. We can solder it, and then the original kill switch actually has connectors instead. It has spade connectors. So what we're gonna go ahead and do at this point, we're just gonna completely replace the kill switch and go with the original one that already has this set up, because, well, I think that's gonna be the easiest thing to do at this point. And because I know that kill switch works as it should. And if not, that means we're gonna have to do more work later on. But let's go on ahead, let's remove this guy. Watch your hands. There it is. Okay, so this kill switch, we're gonna keep it as a spare for this time. And we're just gonna go on ahead and replace these two wires right here. I'm gonna take that switch off, that wire off, and we want to do it the same way. So I'm gonna keep it that way. I'm gonna take this one off, and now since we know where to go, we're gonna put this fella right back on here, like so. We're gonna put this fella right back on here, like so. And there it is, and hopefully this works. Because I don't know about you guys. Well, you guys doesn't really matter because you guys aren't doing this, but yeah, I'm hoping that this is all gonna work out properly like it should. And I know, I should probably clean this out, but in all honesty, it'll clean out itself. And I think the next thing we're gonna replace is gonna be the flywheel, because this thing looks like it's about ready to get going, I think. But I'm a big don't replace what's not broken. I know the flywheel's still good. I know it still works for the magneto and the coil or whatever you want to call it. So we're not gonna go ahead and replace that for the time being until it dies. And at that point, honestly, I might as well just replace the whole engine. Alright, when you're putting the coil back on top of the flywheel, make sure you leave a little bit of space. I want to say maybe no more than an inch, so that you can actually get the power from the magnet to the coil, so you'll actually produce electricity. Higher, and if you go too high, you're not going to have enough electricity. Go too low, the flywheel is not going to be able to spin freely. Alright, now we can go on ahead and start putting everything back together. Alright, now I'm going to say this right now. I don't mean to sound rude or anything, but if you guys don't like the way I do things, or if you think there's a better way, and you think my way is trash, or my way takes too long or whatever, that's fine, that's up to you. We all do this at a different way. You might do it one way, and I'll do it the other way. At the end of the day, what matters is that everything works as it should, which to this point I haven't had an issue with anything not working properly or having spare parts left over or spare screws or whatever the case might be. Okay, now after putting the shock back on, we can go on ahead and we're gonna put the pull start cover back on. And just because I put those 4 bolts back where they belong, I did not have to go searching for them. Alright, now that we're going to do the 2 bolts that we took off from the cover, might as well just go on ahead and tighten every single bolt from the chassis. Since we're already down there, we might as well just do it. And just like that, the cover is back on. Everything is back as it should be. Better. Okay, engine's been put back together now. It's a hassle. It really is a hassle, but I dread getting started on this stuff. But once I get started and once I'm going, I love it. I just love working with this. So the engine's been put back together. We'll be testing it later on. Right now, all we're going to finish off this episode, because this is going to be extremely long at this point, we're just going to go on ahead and, just put the spark plug back on, put the wheel back on, and that's about it. But for the time being, let's just make sure that we still have pressure, which we should. We didn't really do anything at the back, but basically I want to try it, and I want to see if in the back, if there's any leaks whatsoever. We'll be able to know better once it's actually running, and we can put our hands through there, not directly, but around there, so we can feel it. But for right now, honestly, I kind of really do like that muffler, even though it's just your basic one. But I like the fact that it just makes everything self-contained, because of the way that I send this thing. That's the one thing I like. The one thing I don't like is that the muffler is now over the engine itself. So there's pros and cons on this, but overall, one of the things I can't wait to hear how this muffler sounds. So for now, let's just give it a quick one to pull. No problem. Perfect. So now, let's go on ahead, put the spark plug back on. Yeah, we got it, we're good. Overall, everything's in good shape. Now, we'll leave the spark plug back on it actually, just to prevent any trash or anything going into the engine itself. Because let's face it, we don't want to deal with that. Okay, there you go. That ought to do it for now. I'm not gonna put this thing back on just for it. So let's finish it up.